Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Inside Lowell Daily Pulse, the Monday, April 28th edition of the Daily Pulse. We're kicking off a new week here on Inside Lowell, and we are kicking it off in style with double-barrel action regarding the story that everybody's talking about or protesting, or everybody's got an opinion on the Karen Read trial. It's not in Lowell, but there are protests in Dracut, so it...
Yeah,
I went by them the other day.
Yes,
I them the other day. I gave them a shout out, beep. Yeah.
The second protest,
cool.
We actually did a story on the first one on a Sunday. But my two experts today on opposite sides, as you will soon discover, of the Karen Read trial, her guilt, her innocence, and everything in between. Leslie Boder, Real Estate Ray Booten, they're here. Ray, of course, the guy to the left of your digital screen. You have to explain 2025. You have to clarify that nowadays for the wokers. Ray Booten, the guy on the left.
The guy.
Leslie Boder, the childbearing person on the right.
Thank you.
Isn't that what they call women now? Don't I have to call you something?
I'm glad I'm in that age group. Thank
you. People of childbearing, I don't know, whatever it is, but they're
That's
here.
Sale, brother. Sorry. That train left the station.
So we need to come up with a new version of that, which probably not going to be very flattering in the woke lexicon.
That's okay.
Formerly known as?
Formerly of the childbearing gender.
Yeah.
But anyway, good to have you guys here. You've been fighting about this trial almost since day one.
We've been politely disagreeing.
The first trial, let alone the current trial that's going on. But it is important to point out that both of you have watched and or listened to each and every second of testimony from the first trial and now this second trial. So unlike me, and I would say, 99%, maybe 98% of the people who've only formed an opinion based on news reports, you guys actually know what you're talking about.
Yes. Yeah.
So I thought it'd be fun to have this little debate back and forth and
we
see
hear
where it
things
takes
very
us.
differently, but they're saying the same words.
I honestly should have just hit the freaking record button when you sat down. The show would be done by now, and it would be
Out in the green room, too.
It started there, came in here.
Poor Lindsay's got her headphones
We're trying to
on.
convince Lindsay who of us is right.
She's already there. She had you on one ear, Leslie on the other. She cut both ears off. She's like Van Gogh on steroids over there. But we'll get right to the testimony of Boder and Booten. But first, let's thank our Daily Pulse sponsors. Of course, we start with Real Estate Ray Booten, licensed realtor in Massachusetts and New Hampshire, certified appraiser in both of those states as well. So if you're looking to buy or sell a home, a business, or a commercial property, it's only one person to reach out to, Ray Booten. He is your man. Real Estate Ray Booten is the web address. That's realestaterayBooten.com. Thanks as well to our friends at WellPoint, hosting us here in the WellPoint studios. WellPoint is the only health plan offering healthcare benefits exclusively to Massachusetts GIC members. At WellPoint, your whole health is their whole point. You have 4 days, if you count today, gang, before open enrollment ends, May 1st. So if you're insured under the state's GIC, municipal employee, county employee, or whatever, if you're unhappy with your insurance company, make the switch to WellPoint now. Here is your chance. If you're with WellPoint, but your life circumstances have changed, you might want to explore some other plans. You might be able to save some money, adjust your coverage. Remember, though, WellPoint, no referrals needed, no primary care doctor required. Tough to find that. They're the state's leader in GIC coverage. You'll find out why. Ray, Leslie. All right. So I don't know what the format for this is going to be, but we'll kind of let you guys debate it back and forth, and I'll sit back and try to see where the discussion's going. But from our pre-recording, pre-air conversation, you're both saying it's a different show this time around.
That's correct. That's what I think.
Definitely. All
right. Why?
I believe that because the attorney's changed. You have Hank Brennan that's prosecuting the case now.
Hank Brennan is the prosecutor.
That's correct.
And we talked about this on Friday. He was the Whitey Bulger's defense attorney.
That's correct. But he's very well, very good reputation. He's no flies on him.
Hired gun?
I'd say, yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
What's been different? What is he doing different from the first prosecutor?
You know, it's interesting. He's bringing in her own words because she used social media did interviews with Esquire and other magazines, and did two documentary shows about what had happened to her, giving her side because she hasn't been able to give her side, and that's what he's bringing in, her own words used against her.
You rolled your eyes. Mistake for her
Big
to do
mistake.
TV interviews.
So-
I thought that was the stupidest thing she has done in this entire thing, other than get involved with
Her
cops.
interviews, yes.
The-
yes.
The first
the
mistake
interview's
was
like,
getting involved with
oh my
police.
God. And
Yes.
Second was giving interviews because you've not created an evidence trail, and any inconsistency,
And there has been.
even innocent or just simply her memory failed her, because it's been 4 years now.
they're also taking it out of context too. They put something up there and they throw it up there, and it's like they're baiting her to come in and testify to explain it,
They're
and
trying
it's
to
like,
show her personality because she's not sitting. She's very coy and she sits there, but she also hits the guy up 40 times a whack on the phone when he won't answer. So she's kind of insecure. She has maladies. I mean, she doesn't feel well.
Yeah.
She has MS, is it? I believe she has multiple sclerosis, and she has issues, and she's not well.
digestive issues, colitis.
Yes, and it's terrible. You know, she's suffering. She really is.
Right.
And to make fun of her and things like that I thought was just ridiculous to me. But I think they're using her own words against her because out of context, like you said, she's like this. Oh, it looks like someone hit a car. It looks like he was hit by a car. That's what he does. That's what she did.
Leslie is not wrong.
When she was mimicking O'Keefe's mother
Yes.
on video, she's up there. She goes, "It looks like he hit by a car. It looks like he got hit by a car."
Okay, so
And that's exactly how she did it.
pause for a second there.
And then they
I always
paused it.
wondered, why is the O'Keefe family so anti Karen Reed and so quick to embrace the people who, whichever version of the story you believe, either are involved in his death or really just kind of ignored somebody dying on their lawn for 4 hours? Why did the family choose their side so vehemently? That could explain it.
There's obviously they didn't like her. There's issues with John taking the kids. The mother wanted the kids, and they were, arguing or fight. They fought about that.
The day before they
who was
fought
going
back and
to
forth.
no, not Karen, but the mother wanting to take the kids, and John, bachelor, and I'm taking the kids. And for what you could see, guy was a saint. And I really am upset
He
that
struggled.
the police did not do a better. Police and the state police and the district attorney's office didn't do a better job investigating this when they should have.
Agreed.
For a police officer who died under these circumstances. So it's wrong. Why the family is, it's mob mentality sometimes. There's different reasons why people are gaslit and people go along. But from an outside observer, look, I'll be the first to admit, she shouldn't have done those interviews. I know they were trying to get her a point out, but she is not a sympathetic person. But just because she is, doesn't mean she's malicious. She's just not, I don't know.
I don't know.
Not a
If you hit
sympathetic
my
person.
phone up 40 times, man, because I'm not answering, and I keep sending it,
Love each other,
don't.
love-hate relationship.
Yeah, no,
I mean,
I'm not saying
that
relationships
can
don't happen, but
and,
right when this happened, they were arguing.
Perfect marriage, never fight, never
I-
argue with my
no,
wife.
I
So,
agree. I agree.
of course people argue. Of course we play. And
She was
in your
angry. You
text,
heard
you're
those
thinking,
phone calls after she made to him? John, I effing hate you.
because she thought
John.
he was
Hit
cheating
his
and
phone.
like
Hit his
hooked
phone.
up with somebody
She
there,
thinks he
right?
was cheating with everyone. The family friend in Bermuda at the lobby.
Well, he was a cop. He may have been.
He could have absolutely been. We have a very
There you
high
go,
divorce
white
rate.
police.
It would have.
No,
it would
we
have come
have a high
out.
divorce rate.
It wouldn't have come out. Look, was she? In are there women that are like that are obsessed with? There's men that are like that.
Oh, my
usually they
God,
get
yes.
restaining orders, right?
100%.
So it can happen. Do the majority of those people go kill their spouse and
Oh, no.
fake hit him with the car?
Absolutely. No.
No. So two things I want to say. Letting her go in the interview was wrong.
Mistake.
And I'm wearing pink today. I'm pro Karen Reed, blue tie for John O'Keefe, that he should have justice. The second mistake, the defense.
This is how seriously Ray Boone takes it.
the defense.
Pink for Karen Reed, but enough blue for the.
But I'm going to call it like it is. The
officer.
defense screwed up when they didn't poll the jury. Like I love law.
Last trial.
Law and Order, the crime
We've
shows,
already had
those things like
adjudication
that.
on the last trial.
They could have polled the jury to find out the three. There's some confusion about Bev Canoni, the judge, saying you have to come back unanimous on all three counts. So that's what the jury thought. And for the foreman not to say, we're split
That's up
on
to
one
the
of the
two
counts.
attorneys. One of the attorneys asked for a poll.
And I'm everybody loves Yannetti and Jackson, and they do a great job, but they screwed up. They should have pulled the jury to say, hold on all the counts, this didn't get cleared, and they messed up. And all the pro Karen Reed people that I watch on Twitter, or I watch the podcast, nobody's like, hey, you guys made a mistake. Don't do that again. So
yes,
they did make a mistake at that, because the jurors have come out now, I think 4 or 5 of them, even one that, said she was guilty of the second count. The first and third count, no. They were unanimous that she was not guilty.
But the jury came back saying she hit him.
No, they didn't.
Yes, they did.
That was split. The majority of the jury. It was 8 to 4.
She didn't hit him second-degree murder, but she hit him. They're not allowed to take into account anything that happened inside the home.
Right. But
so you can't bring it in.
Jurors have come and said she was there. They felt she was drunk, and justice needs to be for the family.
Okay. This incident happened after 1 a.m. She took her blood alcohol content at 9 a.m.
Yes.
She blew an 08.
What time did she stop drinking?
At midnight, she's blowing double. She's over twice the legal limit. I'm telling you that right now. They can do the math.
Nobody's disputing whether she was drunk or not.
She's
right?
saying she only had 4.
They are, but
they have her drinking 9, but she didn't finish them all. Some of them had shots in them. She didn't drink all that. She took it with her. She took a roadie.
How many did she have when she went home?
She's saying she took 4, and this is a defense that was used in Florida once. A gentleman hit somebody and left the scene, and his attorney said, "Go to a bar and start drinking as fast as you can." That's what he's trying to introduce.
Again, they don't. So the blood.
She didn't go home and start drinking. She fell asleep.
The blood alcohol.
That's what she said.
Oh no, she was sending him texts and voicemails, so she didn't go right to sleep. She was pissed.
She was.
And if you're that upset because you. Either way,
this is the amount of alcohol, what kind of glass it was served in. I know that was a big thing from the first trial, right? So they haven't gotten to that part of the second trial yet. This one's for you, Gilly, by the way. Have they gotten to the part where she walked into the bar and the bartender says, "Why the long face"?
No. They didn't get to that yet.
They haven't gotten to that yet. Okay.
Again, I've heard it described online as RBF, resting bitch face. Like
she's definitely has RBF.
She's gonna have
a very long
any face
too.
she makes, she's gonna.
You're right. She's gonna be criticized, and I don't.
No.
I don't think it's fair that you're criticizing her for her looks, that she's guilty. Like
I will give you this.
That's
she's looking a little more stunned because when she saw herself talking about Mrs. O'Keefe, she cringed herself.
Well, true. Nobody thinks, I've watched podcasts before, and I'm like, oh, I need to open my eyes more and stop squinting.
So that wasn't introduced in the first trial, the part where she's bad mouthing the mother.
No, and
no video was shown.
Was that old footage, or was that an
from her own interview?
I think that was done after the last trial.
That's correct.
That was the one that was done after the last trial.
So she was bad mouthing the mother after the last trial.
Mimicked her too. It was really
so not a good, but doesn't prove her guilt.
No,
right?
But puts her in a totality of the evidence,
unsympathetic light. So
you have to take a totality.
So you have to go right. So you got to go through the totality.
Right, and the defense hasn't started yet.
Michael Proctor
hasn't come up yet.
Have you ever taken a report with multiple witnesses and spelled 5 of their names wrong?
Oh, that's unacceptable.
Okay, which he did.
Okay.
Were you ever an investigator with the state police?
Of course.
Did you have people sign
I signed affidavits. I locked people up. Yeah.
Did the person, say you were asking me to state my witness statement, when I was done, did you ask me to sign it?
A witness statement?
Yeah, say I saw it.
Yeah, but I'd peruse it first.
You perused it. You looked through, okay, you're saying all this stuff. Would you mind signing this? Did you ask the witness to sign?
I don't know.
You wouldn't ask.
I don't know what you're talking about.
If I wrote a statement out that I saw this person go through a red light and hit this vehicle.
You're writing the statement? Then you sign it yourself. I wrote a statement.
Right.
Okay.
Why didn't Proctor ask Jen McCabe, Matt McCabe?
We don't ask you to sign the
Colin
statement.
Abbott to sign statements. No, they don't?
I don't ask you. Well, number one,
I think they have
like
a history
in
of signing statements.
They give a ticket and they sign the ticket.
Not the
that
ticket.
makes a pen a weapon.
A witness statement after an interview.
I don't have you sign anything.
Would you put it on video if you were going to interview somebody on this?
You don't photograph anything. No.
They don't do that now?
No.
Oh. I think you're going to see that they do most of the time.
You know what?
And they don't sign.
Sure.
And they don't sign. So Proctor didn't have them sign.
So, but it doesn't mean their statements are wrong. What's your point?
Because now, ask you guys to pause for one quick second, because we're kind of going back to early testimony, and the crux of this trial is it a incompetent / malicious investigation / prosecution, or just a sloppy one? But she says that it's a completely different trial. you kind of agree already. What have we in the first 4 days? What has been the key thing that stands out?
The state's first witness, Timothy Nuttall, he was one of the EMTs that came there, paramedic, right?
I hit him.
Changed his testimony from I hit him to I hit him. And where
so he's minused it from 3 to 2.
He went from 2 last time to 3 this time. And that's why, and he didn't tell any of the doctors, or he didn't follow up with her, like, you hit him with your fist, you hit him with a glass, you hit him with a vehicle, you hit him, how did you hit him? A bat? Something.
Well, he's an EMT. He's not an investigator.
But he's the one that transports John's body to the hospital to say, we have to save him. He's been out in the cold. Nobody hit him.
You're not dead till your woman did.
Or until he goes to the hospital and they say, well, what happened? What did you gather? As an EMT, you have to say his pulse, his heart, his blood pressure, things that you gathered. So if she said she hit him, wouldn't it be pertinent for him to tell the doctors when he got to the ER, the emergency department, she hit him? But what do you mean she hit him? A car? A bat?
Pause on this, though. So because he says that he himself heard her say, yes, I hit him. Because the I hit him has been in dispute. Whether in the first trial, I know enough from the news reports.
When was the first time that came out, though?
So, but
not that day,
right? But what I'm trying to get at,
how many months later?
Question though, sometimes spontaneous utterance.
Hold on.
Did she say anything?
But what about Nuttall claiming in the first trial he had a big puffy jacket on, one of those big puffy, and I remember it as clear a day, and I had to cut through that and open it up.
And he was wrong about that.
And he didn't have a jacket on.
No.
So this guy is so reliable. He went from cutting off a jacket that didn't exist, I hit him, to the next trial, I hit him.
Because
his memory is better now than it was 3 years ago.
She said, I hit him. It's whether it's 3 or 2.
What stuck with me is that somebody who's a neutral observer, this guy has no connection to the McAlberts or McFadden or anybody else.
He works for the Canton Fire Department, who one of the selectmen is Brian Albert's brother.
There is a connection.
There is a connection. There is also a connection.
Everybody hired in the city is going to be connected to the family because he's on the council.
Correct. But I didn't know if there was a connection or not. So you've had McFang saying Karen Reed said I hit him, right? Yes. You now had the woman in the lane, Brian Suit, according to Howie Carr, say, I hit him. She said, Karen Reed said, I hit him. She said at the grand jury, but has now changed her testimony to say.
Kerry Roberts' testimony was she heard Karen Reed ask Jen McCabe to Google how long to die in cold. And then when the feds got involved, the federal government said, hey, wait a minute, something's not right here. And they do it and said, if you lie to us, that's perjury, and you always hear you can't lie to the feds. So in her grand jury testimony, she said, I heard Karen ask her that, and then when the feds asked her, she said, I didn't actually hear it. So she testified in the first trial. She testified to the grand jury, which was part of the reason why they upgraded it to a murder charge, right?
The grand jury testimony alone, no.
That was part of it.
Well, not
that was
alone.
part of it, that her corroborating Jen McCabe saying she asked me how long to die on the cold. So
house long.
House long. Yeah,
It was done at 6 a.m. by the way, because she opened a tab at 2:30 in the morning.
No way.
It's on the stand now.
That is my number one.
So that's okay. So that's a key point in this.
Yeah. The tab.
That is my key point.
It was taken.
I have 10 tabs open on my phone right now. I can go up to a tab I opened last night and check something this morning, and that's what she did.
Okay, so I would assume that this can very easily be decided, though, right?
Yes, they have a forensic guy.
That there are people who know how Google search works and phones work.
Both sides
and they will show did she do that search at 2:30 or at 6 or both times. Was it spelled properly at 6 o'clock?
No.
It was spelled properly?
Cold and shaking, and it was a
differently from 2:27 when she did it, and then she spelled it wrong again when she did it at 6:23.
Yeah, but
was it spelled ancient? Was it the same spelling mistake or different spelling mistake?
The evidence is saying she did not make that search at 2:30 in the morning.
But yes, 2:27. Yes, 2:27.
Yeah, okay.
There is evidence that she did that.
Did she make two different how long to die in the search?
But not house long at 2:27.
Has that been brought out?
Not on the new trial.
So
I'm not just here about the new trial. I'm here about the evidence that I've seen to say, how can you, she has to be not guilty.
So what did the 6 o'clock Google search show?
How long to die?
At 6
It wasn't
it says
how long,
Haas
it
or
was a
how?
different spelling.
Okay,
I've seen the reporting
Same
as
thing,
how
hypothermia.
long at 6
Yeah.
o'clock. But if there's a search that says Haas long and if there's one that says how long,
I haven't seen that
points to two different
I haven't
things
seen that.
and not the.
I didn't see that. I haven't seen that yet.
But have you seen the how?
I haven't seen the how. I've seen the Haas, but it hasn't come up yet.
Has it come up as how?
The old,
It hasn't
but I'm
come up yet at
going
all.
by the old jury. I don't say, okay, the old trial doesn't count. It does count because evidence was presented.
There was a
And
mistrial.
I'm here to say
They
that's
brought
right.
in new evidence and new people. It's a different trial.
Right, but it will eventually, I'm assuming that's a key enough point that will come up, right?
Of course.
Okay.
It should, and it should create a little doubt.
Reasonable doubt.
Why not? Well,
So
not to
guilty.
acquit.
You
It's
have-
one
you have-
tiny
you have-
piece of a puzzle this
You have
big.
one expert that does a blog post, and that's what he does. And you have somebody
Who's
else
that?
that has 35 years, Ian
that?
Whiffen,
Who-
with the blog post, and
Who's
then
the
Richard
blog
Green,
post?
who is testified
I don't know
in
who
so
this
many different states. This guy, Whiffen, is your guy.
Whiffen
He's
is the-
approved in Canada,
my guy.
in Australia, and maybe the United Kingdom.
No,
that he's
from
testified
the
a few
United Kingdom,
times.
Canada, and Australia.
Oh, those are the only two places
They
he
had to go out of
testified?
the country to get
Yes.
to get
Yeah.
experts?
They didn't go out of the country. He wrote the software everyone in the world uses to
He did
use
not.
it. Yes, he did.
Ian Whiffen did not.
He did.
He did not.
Everybody's
he's a product
using his formula.
support specialist. This is a new
This is great, by the way.
software.
I feel like I'm watching two
There's a
different
new
trials.
software he created
Yes.
that he's saying is better than Celebrate,
Yes.
which the country uses, like all the courts use.
Yes,
that's
but
the
that's
gold
because we pay
standard.
them, and that's probably a contract. It doesn't mean they're the best.
Who's the
Ever hear a low bid, dude?
who's the guy?
Dude.
Who's the guy?
And why do you
Dude,
keep
where's
using
my
that
car?
word?
Where's my car?
You should have heard. She had 27 dudes on Friday.
Someone says it to me a lot.
It inverted backwards.
I'm
Where's
so
the dude?
sorry.
Where's my car? It inverted. Yeah, we talk about that.
Speaking
But-
of cars, she backed into this.
But Celebrate. Why? Who's the guy who killed his wife and disappeared her body?
Oh God! Which one?
Oh, yeah,
In
that's-
Duxbury,
that narrows
Dover,
the
one of
field.
those. No, he.
Oh, he's bringing in the-
She was in Washington. It was New Year's Eve
Yeah.
last year.
Yeah.
Why did they
Because
use
Proctor's on that case too.
right? But why did they use Celebrate for that? If this Ian Whiffen has the gold standard of a new software
Because
that
it's been-
everything is wonderful.
They finally found that there was problems with the company they were using, and they wanted better, and they got better.
But they went with
He's
Celebrate.
excellent. Have you
Why
heard
wouldn't
him?
they
He's
gone-
phenomenal.
You just like his.
His accent?
Yeah, his UK
I'm Irish.
accent.
I'm not
yeah.
that flattered by it.
All right.
All right.
I'd rather hear a Hungarian one.
Hold on.
right.
We're taking a recess from the testimony
Sure.
of Ray Booten and Leslie Boder because we need to thank our Daily Pulse sponsors. You're watching the Inside Lowell Daily Pulse. It's Monday, April 28th. We're a little different format today, although, hey, look, the Daily Pulse keeps our finger on the pulse of Lowell and the world around it. The world around it is talking about the Karen Reed trial. So we're talking about it today with Leslie and Ray, Boder and Booten, as we call them. Let's just quickly thank our Daily Pulse sponsors. Ray Booten is one of them. Licensed realtor, Massachusetts and New Hampshire. Does that make me a bias? Should I recuse myself
Make you a boutonniere.
from hosting?
You're a boutonniere.
As long as you disclose, you're fine.
I'm disclosing my conflict of interest here. If you're looking to buy or sell a home, there is no conflict whatsoever. Ray Booten is
Now
your
that's a
man.
fact.
Find him online, realestaterayBooten.com. Thanks as well to our friends at WellPoint. At WellPoint, your whole health is their whole point. Washington Savings Bank, banking that feels like home. Make the switch now to Washington Savings Bank. TMI Properties, quality and value at every price point. Find your perfect space with TMI. Mahoney Oil, providing warmth and protection to Greater Lowell and Southern New Hampshire since 1925. A local institution, better people. One of these days, I'll get them to come on here and actually talk a little bit about that. Speaking of good people, the Greater Lowell Community Foundation, improving the quality of life in Greater Lowell through strategic, impactful philanthropy. Francis E. Prevention Insurance, the agency Greater Lowell is counted on since 1982, and they have, other than realestaterayBooten.com, they have the best website on the planet, don't they, Leslie?
They do.
What is it again?
Ladies, pay attention.
You don't want to say it?
I don't know how to say it.
FEPINS.com. That's FEPINS.com. And of course,
They
by
won't
the
forget it, though.
Massachusetts Pirates, bringing all the hard-hitting action and excitement of arena football to the Mill City. Pirates went down to defeat yesterday against the Green Bay Blizzard. They look to get back on the winning track this week. We'll have our Inside the Pirates podcast tomorrow, Tuesday. But now, back to our trial here. Boder and Booten, breaking down the Karen Reed trial, part 2. And but
Does right.
a little bit of part 1 in there. So, okay. So you're trying to discuss just what's been put forth as evidence so far in this trial, which
That's
is
correct.
3 or 4 days worth of testimony.
That's correct.
Ray says when you're trying to determine innocence or guilt, you're gonna have to take the totality of the trial, and we've already usually you're getting a trial for the first time. So usually by this point it's pretty unanimous. The prosecution's winning.
Right.
But when you look at the first trial,
No.
Are they really
when you're
winning?
looking at the first trial, so
You don't think it's night and day?
Brennan is doing a much better job putting in those clips and everything like that, putting Peggy O'Keefe on the
He
stand.
doesn't like that because it makes her look bad. You don't like it.
No, like, I'm not here blindly to say Karen Reed is innocent and accept everything. I told you, they should have pulled the jury. They made a mistake like that. They shouldn't have let her go on the interviews. I'm like a realist, like, ADUs, you should have them in Lowell. Like Collie, high school at Collie. Like, when you're right, you're right. But when something's wrong, you have to bring it out. And so I can do both sides. I can say Brennan is doing a better job than Lally did.
That's right.
But when you're dealt...
You're damning him with faint praise there, though.
2-7.
Even Boder says Lally was
When you
atrocious,
dealt
right?
Sitting there like
2-7
this
off
now,
suit, you got a crappy hand for no limit hold'em. That's the worst you can get.
What do we know about this jury? Because
it's 8 and 8.
where did they find people? They're all from Canton, right?
Well, they're from the surrounding area.
The surrounding area. So
the county.
Where did they find people who
They found 8
did
men
not
and 8
watch the
women.
first trial?
That's not true.
They're prejudiced at some points.
They're
but
all prejudiced. in
No,
some
they
way, shape,
can
or
know
form.
about the trial.
That's right.
The last one, they tried to get people that didn't know about the trial. This one here, you can know about the trial. You just couldn't have an opinion.
They had to say, "I'm still not sure what happened."
I'm not sure. I can.
They found 12 people
listen
who
to
didn't pick a side. Wow, that's actually interesting to
They
me.
found
Yeah.
they found
18.
18 people that said they could, that they haven't picked a side either or.
Did they give these people? Did they check their pulse, their daily pulse, to see if they're alive? How could you have been alive
No.
in Massachusetts
They
throughout
most of them have heard of it,
2024
Teddy.
and not formed an opinion on this case?
They could have heard about the case, but they had to say, yes, I can go forward, listen to the evidence, and
Okay.
go
Well,
accordingly.
I can
So they
also
can
look
know
at a
about that.
case and tell you the first trial should have been a hung jury. The Commonwealth did not prove their case.
So that
agree.
screams innocent. That's
No, no.
That screams
Not
not guilty.
guilty.
That screams not guilty.
second-degree
If
murder.
the Commonwealth does not prove their case, that's
second-degree
not
murder.
guilty.
That's correct.
But we didn't get that verdict. The
No, but
jurors,
some of the jurors had come to that conclusion, and that's why he wants them polled.
Some are
But
all.
that's up to her attorney to do that.
Did Jackson fail?
That's why
Yes.
Jackson and Yannetti, they made a mistake by not polling the
The
jury.
hired gun, Jackson.
Can we
from
talk about
California.
Jackson for a quick second there? Because
Yes.
there've been videos circulating that he was playing a little grab tush.
I sent
with
the photo to
Karen
both of
Reed.
you.
Is that photo real or is that photo doctored? I've seen some
Photoshopped,
stuff that has been
and
photoshopped.
There was just a
I saw that pop out over the weekend. Is that real?
there was a court filing in Turtle Boy's case showing that Kate Peter, who hates Turtle Boy, admitting
I haven't read
that
one thing on Turtle Boy.
she doctored the photo. So Bradel, who very well respected, and Mark Betterow, who's a New York attorney, very well respected, have an affidavit that they filed into court on the Turtle Boy case saying Kate Peter, who's been getting information from the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office, from the witnesses, Jen McCabe, all those people, to say, give bad things and fight their side so they don't have to be the face
Even
of
if
this.
they're romantic, I don't have a problem
Well,
with it.
so that's
Who
so
cares?
that's my question.
Who cares?
Is it against the law for an attorney to engage in a relationship
No,
with this guy?
their
Because if it is, Nancy Kerrigan's kids are illegitimate. her agent slash attorney ended up leaving his wife for Nancy
Interesting.
Kerrigan. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't care whether they're.
And by the way, is the most recent time we've heard such whining from a defense. So, these are all for you, buddy.
But listen, it's a fake Photoshop, and you.
Why?
Yeah, why? Why me? Yeah.
Why?
Oh God, that was horrible.
It looks like a chimpanzee.
So the photo may or may not have been photoshopped, but
it's
does it really matter?
But now they
No,
have somebody
not to
that.
me.
But
Does it affect his judgment, though? If you get too personal in a case, does it affect
fight
your
harder.
the
judgment?
jury, you fight harder. But the jury it's more to make her unsympathetic. That's
she
the whole
is.
point.
Well, she's single. What's the period?
She's also a bit narcissistic.
Once your partner dies, was there a period? Like I have this debate with my
Oh,
wife.
when you're in mourning?
Yeah, like
long do you have to wait?
You're
I tell her
great. What do you do,
I
120
tell her
days?
I'll wait 6 weeks before dating.
What do you do?
You wouldn't bring a
You
date
have
to her funeral.
I won't bring a date to her funeral,
Such
no.
a
Greeks
gentleman.
wait, though.
That's
The Greeks
crossing
have
a
a
line.
day after a death. When is it? It's like 60 days later or 30
I think
days?
as soon as you throw the flower on the casket,
Okay.
you're able to. That's long enough, isn't it?
Jeez, you guys are killers.
Wow.
Don't worry, Riley. I'm
They are
just
the
kidding.
first. They
I
are the
will.
first.
I'll wait the 6 weeks. I promise, honey. Well, she won't wait 6 minutes. What? Why do I have to wait?
I didn't know that part. Like, you know.
So, all right. The home evidence. So there's talk that in this trial, certain evidence can be admitted and others can't, including evidence from the first trial. Is there evidence from the first trial that cannot be admitted?
The whole first trial is evidence if you're brought up as a witness, because it's been.
But yeah, so the topic.
Good. I'm glad you appreciate the first trial matters.
So everything that
it
was
does
discussed
with what you're saying in the second.
Yes.
So why? But I heard that they can't talk about the young kid, the kid that never got into a
third
fight, but
party-
every
right. They used a third party
social media
culprit
photo.
last
Hold on,
time.
they can
use
still
two.
talk about him. They can still talk about
can
him,
use
but they
two.
can't name him as a third party culprit.
Why? He was named as a third party
They've
culprit in the first trial.
exonerated him.
He's been exonerated
No, he has not.
by who?
Then why aren't they
He did
charging
by
him?
the judge.
Yes.
The judge.
Why?
Is she a juror?
Why, if you want to go into the bigger, why did Proctor be told?
Wait a minute, we're talking
take
about the McCabe kid. Sorry.
No,
No,
not
no,
the
no, no. I'm
McCabe-
talking about the kid, the
No, not the
nephew,
McCabe kid,
Colin,
Colin
whatever.
Albert. Colin
Colin
Albert.
Albert, that's who I mean.
So
We're
they
talking
kid,
about
the
the
judge
Kid is either a
said,
really bad
With the-
knuckle
with the broken knuckles,
dragger,
yeah, the-
or he's always getting into fights.
Yeah,
slipped on the
Yeah,
ice
but
and landed
Can
on
they?
his knuckles.
Can they
What happened?
bring up a
Slipped on the
theory?
ice and landed on his knuckles.
Can they bring up a theory? I thought he was dragging them.
Either way.
Can they bring up the theory that he was involved in a fight and the dog jumped in and whatnot?
She said,
I heard that they can't.
No.
Why
She
would she
said
say no when it was brought up in the first trial, though?
why did the district attorney get on in August of, I think it was 2024?
Which one?
Or 2023? Michael Morrissey. And this is
Meatball
why I got involved.
We got to go with the nicknames.
This is why
Meatball Morrissey. Meatball Morrissey. Can we?
This is what got me like looking at the case, because he was there saying Colin Albert was not in the house. They're witnesses. They're being harassed. And I'm like, wow, what's going on here? The district attorney. And then I start looking into it and I go, never in my life have I seen a district attorney get up and try and defend people that the defense is saying are the third party culprits. It's like, they're supposed to be neutral. They're supposed to be about justice.
So
And
you
he
believe
should
that
have
Colin
never-
Albert can be brought up? Why is he not
can't be
being
brought up
allowed
as
to
a,
be
he
brought up
can't
in
be
this
brought up
case?
as a third party in this case,
Why?
third party culprit.
When he was
The
he was brought up in the
because
first
the
trial.
judge decided that there's not enough evidence for them to call him as a third party
Didn't she?
culprit.
But she allowed it in the first
Yes,
trial.
yes.
So when did she make this decision that there isn't enough evidence? Why did she step forward in
I'll
the first
let
trial?
you answer that.
Why?
Why did she?
Not my point.
Well,
It's your point.
Okay.
You haven't finished it yet.
I'm going to let you answer.
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
There's the inconsistency, and this is what's grabbed the
okay,
nation.
okay.
This is what's grabbed the nation to say. Most attorneys that are not attached to this will say she shouldn't have gone that way. That as a defense attorney, you have that Colin was okay to be a third party culprit defendant in the first and then not the second. There wasn't anything that came up that, hey, this Life 360 shows that he wasn't there. There's new evidence to show that he wasn't a part of it. If anything, it came out that Jen McCabe, before she gave her phone up, deleted the Life 360 data from her daughter. And the daughter's the one that supposedly picked him up from the house, dropped him off, and came right home. And then when the feds got involved, they found out the Life 360
this hasn't been brought
data.
up.
Life 360 is like find
Was
my
it brought
friend
up in
on
the
your
first
phone.
trial?
No, it may
Was the
have.
Life 360
He's
data
very good
brought
at
up
the
in the
first
first trial?
I'm
It,
sure it has.
did about her deleting it and the feds finding it. And I think they're going to go heavier into that because Ally
just no
McCabe,
nefarious
Ally
intent.
McCabe said she picked up Colin and
There's a
brought
lot
him
of
home.
deleting going on.
There
though,
is,
isn't
for
there?
sure. The ATF agent and the Canton PD.
Again, as I'm watching it, and
not the
from the
truth.
outside, I'm hearing news reports. I'm like, why is there so much deleting? Why is there so much incompetence in the investigation?
I know why I delete my memories, Teddy.
Look, I delete my texts all the time because
All the
I'd have
time.
a million of them.
And so does Ben McCabe.
That said,
No,
no,
That's what he
that's
deletes.
not true.
that said, if
That's not
somebody
true.
dies on my front
what she's
lawn,
done. Yeah.
if somebody dies
gonna
on my
teach-
front lawn, I'm not deleting any text that's related to that.
Well,
I think
unless I'm involved in
you're
the thing.
mistaken. You're mistaken. Those are the only things that she deleted from her phone. She has
Has
a
that come
history
up?
of not deleting. Yes,
Oh,
that
I
has come out in the
understand.
evidence that she hasn't. It was just these specific ones.
Who's the one that deletes right away? Someone deletes continually right away.
Michael
and always
Morrissey,
has.
every
No,
30
it's a woman.
days.
It's a woman.
His will
woman.
delete.
Anyway, we'll have to reintroduce it.
maybe it's one of the ones that offered Michael Proctor, the lead investigator, a bribe. And
I don't know
Michael
what you're talking
Proctor
about, so.
stood up and said, "No, I can't take a bribe. Give it to
What
my
was
wife."
the bribe?
give a present. She just said,
What was the present?
I want to buy something. I want to get you something. Thank you for doing such a great job.
Okay.
And he said, no, a
So that's
gift.
a bribe
I want
to
to
you?
give you a gift.
That's a bribe?
After the day after, or
lose
the
the
day they arrested
interpretation of
Karen,
bribe.
the
It
day
could
they
be seen
arrested
as
Karen.
one.
Oh, it's Colin
Under the
Albert.
law?
Sorry, it's Colin Albert's
I didn't
mother.
take them.
Colin Albert's mother texted Michael Proctor's sister, or Michael Proctor, and it got to Michael and said,
Michael's who?
Michael Proctor,
Who?
the lead
How
investigator.
did you get to him?
Somebody
You said sister.
texted.
Yeah,
somebody
who?
texted him.
Oh, this is
Michael Proc-
circumstantial. You have to know.
Colin
these things.
Albert's mother
Okay.
texted Michael Proctor and said,
She did directly. Okay.
"Yes, thank you for everything.
Yeah.
I want to buy you. I want to buy you a gift, or I
Okay.
want to give you a gift." And he said, "No, thank you. That would be improper." Oh, actually, he didn't say that. He said, "No, get it for my wife."
Okay, so what?
So what? That's not collusion.
No.
So
You
Colin
know how many
Albert's
times
mother.
I've been offered things in uniform? Are you kidding
Did you
me?
ever say, "Give it to my spouse"?
I know. I didn't have one. Still don't.
No, Leslie took it herself.
I said, give it
For you to say that doesn't ruin the credibility or the motivation
Ruin?
of Colin Albert's mother to say the day Karen Reed gets
So you're
charged.
saying she's using that motivation to lie about Karen Reed and say she's a murderer? It's going that far?
Because he
It's
was
gone that far?
because they think he was involved.
So
And
she's
now
literally
there's
saying, I'm
somebody
protect
else
my son?
taking the
Oh,
blame.
okay.
Well, no, there's a reason why, and it creates reasonable doubt
No.
that here's the trail. You're offering a gift to somebody for
Has that been
doing his
introduced in
job.
this trial?
Yes,
It-
not in this trial. It was in the
will it
last
be?
one. Oh, I've got to
We
imagine
don't know
when you
because
try
during
and
the
bribe a
interim,
state
they have
trooper-
gotten rid of a lot
I
of
don't
things that
have
can't
to
introduce anymore.
I don't have to go through the trial to understand that she's not guilty by reasonable doubt.
Oh, shit.
There's reasonable doubt.
Okay, so this.
Not anymore.
Why I wanted to highlight what was introduced in the first trial but can't be in this one.
Right.
Because prior to
Right.
us starting that discussion, you both said, well, the jurors have admitted to watching the first trial or getting some reports on it, but they haven't formed an opinion.
Mm-hmm.
How can you, if you watched the first trial, even if you didn't form an opinion, you're aware of this testimony? And when it comes up or doesn't come up in the second trial, you still know about Colin Albert. He spent, 3 days on the witness stand back the last time. Other things that may or may not be introduced in this trial were in the first trial. And if you are on the jury and you admit that you are familiar with the first trial, then how do you exclude
I don't
it when
think
you're
it's
making
going to
your
matter.
judgment?
So I don't think it's going to matter. You talked about Hank Brennan, and I said he's doing a much better job than Lally. But when you've been dealt, a bad hand, it's a bad hand. What they've done in the defense on this
If they've
trial,
been dealt a bad hand, then plea.
plead
out.
No, the prosecution has been dealt
I
a
thought
bad
Karen
hand
was, I'm
with all the
sorry.
mistakes, with all the investigative mistakes and everything they didn't do that they should have done that they do on every other.
Right.
Putting evidence in a red Solo cup.
Canton.
I haven't done that since I've been in my 20s,
Canton PD.
right? Canton PD and the state police.
Canton PD put the red cups in the Stop and Shop bag.
Yeah. So
saying,
other
there's a
things come
difference.
through.
Jimmy Buffett.
My point about
But see, an evidence bag is a demoulas bag. It's a Stop and Shop bag. It just doesn't have the writing on it. It's the same thing.
they're kept in secure locations. Where did the bag come from? Whose
listen,
house was in there? So
this is
can I just say
Canton
about the defense
Sure.
changing their strategy? Their whole strategy last time was third party culprit.
They can't use
So
it.
not having they can because they can still say Brian Higgins or
Two.
Brian Albert.
That's correct.
Two of the three that were responsible
Two
for
adult
it.
professionals, one
But-
Canton
but-
PD, one ATF.
But look at the opening statement by Alan Jackson. There's been a change from
She didn't hit him.
third party culture
She didn't hit him. She didn't hit him.
the actually, and that's what they got from the jury. Their new attorney, who was on the former jury, who's an attorney
excellent.
who they
Yes,
hired,
yes,
right?
excellent job.
And they found that you guys were about this third-party culprit, and you didn't prove that. So we
That's
went
right.
back to she was there. Looks like somebody got hit. Whatever the case. Now they're going. She did not hit him. So they have changed. The defense has changed from third-party culprit. That's a possibility.
Because
But
they're not
now
allowed
focused,
to use it because
they are allowed to use it on Brian Higgins and Brian Albert.
So it's not third party then.
Third-party culprit.
Two.
Two-party culprit.
Yes,
So
that's a
third-party
difference.
culprit means The defense, the state, and the third
Why'd
party
they get
did
rid of
it.
one?
That's what they call
Why'd
it,
they
the
get
third
rid of
party
one
culture.
then? Why'd they get rid of one?
Judge 𝐃𝐚𝐢𝐥𝐲, you can ask her. My point is, the
Should they have,
defense,
prove
should
it,
they have
there's
moved the
not enough
trial?
evidence.
defense is now
Should they have
focusing-
moved the trial completely out of it, get it out of Bev's hands? Because
No.
I think the jury
They
pool
can't
is
do that.
tainted.
Even if they
Why?
went to
think they
Springfield,
could've.
she would still be the presiding judge because she was assigned the first one, and she would have stayed on.
Yes, she's.
They would have
She
her
She
on
can
it.
recuse herself,
Oh,
though, can't
she could.
if she chooses.
They
They
asked
also
her
run
to
a
recuse
campaign
herself.
against her. They call her Auntie Bev.
Right.
She is a respected judge. She's had 20 plus years of
Has she
experience.
snuck any illegal immigrants out the back door? I want to know.
No, that's
She
a different
hasn't.
state, though.
Has anyone asked her?
Well, that's a great question.
wanna
But
know.
What I'm saying is, before this trial,
Next time, Jackson, you know you're there. Hey, by
I
the
want
way,
Jackson to
have
do
you-
that.
before
bring
this
this
trial,
up.
she came in with
my
a good
God.
reputation. This group of people in pink have just ripped her.
Oh my God! You
relentlessly
don't think
apart.
that she's made mistakes and she's been more pro prosecution than she has
Absolutely
defense?
not.
I don't think she's
Well,
the
Because you're watching it with a vested interest, and I don't care. And so I'm actually
I
listening.
want justice for everybody.
Absolutely.
But you
don't
admit-
forget the blue in this.
But you admit, though, that
John
she
O'Keefe.
goofed allowing Colin Albert to be brought up. By not allowing Colin Albert to be brought up as a potential suspect in
right,
this on the
right.
defense theory, she allowed him in the first trial. That's a major screw up.
Sure.
Speaks a little bit about her competence.
Well, it doesn't speak to her competence. It speaks to what she thinks
Her
about
judgment.
that. Right. Well, her judgment, and that's what it is.
So she's acting
Her
as the
judgment.
jury. She listened to Colin Albert's testimony the first time and has now decided he can't be
No,
brought in.
I don't believe
Yes.
that's the circumstance.
Yes.
So why
She
wouldn't
looked
you
at the
allow it?
evidence and said, "I don't feel there's enough to say Colin Albert could be a third
They
party."
brought
culprit."
evidence to prove that then.
That's right.
which I
So
wasn't
she
privy
made
to.
a decision.
Yeah.
That
So that means Hank Brennan
and-
came up with something
but-
that recused this kid. Like,
No,
you can't
he
really-
didn't. It was the
Then why
same
isn't he
evidence
in?
because she decided he wouldn't
On
be
what
in.
evidence?
That's exactly what we're asking.
Okay.
So you don't. I don't know of any
don't know.
evidence.
Speaking of evidence and investigations, because we're about 41 minutes in, so I promise we're only going to go another 15. But you're welcome to come back in the future. This is actually fun.
All right.
Especially when there's more testimony and Leslie's
Absolutely.
going
Yes.
to
Do you
respond
think there'll
to.
be more perjury or mistakes? I cut off his jacket that wasn't there. I hit him. No, I hit him. And 3 years later, my memory's better.
Did she say I hit him at least once?
No.
Oh. there's
No,
a problem.
none of the
We have a
police there
problem.
heard it. None of the police put in the reports. How long after?
I believe
How
the
long after
EMT.
Nuttall?
I believe the EMT.
You believe the
I don't
EMT?
think he has a reason
When
to
did
lie.
Nuttall say that
He
she actually hit him?
He's on the stand right now. I can
No. John O'Keefe died on
He
January
testified in the
29th.
first trial, though, right?
Yes.
This isn't his first time testifying,
John O'Keefe
right?
on January
Okay.
29th died, right? They found him on January 29th. How long later did Nuttall actually come up and say, was it 3 or 4 months later that he said, I hit him, or Karen Reed said, I hit him, or I hit him?
No. Well, you have to be.
How long later?
You have to
What
be.
if there
asked-
was an echo? Was there an echo
Well,
on that?
so then
See,
go
but
back
he's
to.
saying that she
you're
didn't
right.
say
You have
I
to be
hit him
asked,
at all.
Why
And
didn't the
that's
state
not
police?
accurate.
Why didn't
She
the
hit
state
him.
police
She said she hit him.
interview him right away? Why did
state
they wait
police
3 or
weren't
4
there.
months? 3 or 4 months
so
they
3 or 4
waited
months.
to interview him?
Well, there's a list.
That is suspect.
All right.
No.
So my question is, the state Canton police
ATF?
appear to have botched this investigation. Whether you
agree with that?
If
It's horrible.
she's
All right, so she's
guilty,
reasonable doubt.
they botched it terribly.
It's not
If she-
reasonable doubt because the botch that
if she's
the
innocent-
attorneys
oh,
are going to prove
so-
that beyond
all right.
a reasonable doubt. They have to.
But right, but here's my
can't.
thing.
They
How
can't.
many times have we seen cases where just one police officer's botched testimony
O.J.
has
Simpson,
completely
Alec Baldwin.
swung it to there's reasonable doubt. If a police officer is guilty of some kind of malfeasance
Yeah.
or has completely screwed up,
Do you say it takes
that's
the whole
enough
case?
reasonable?
Yes.
Yeah. How often does
See,
that
I happen
happen?
to believe.
I know about OJ and Alec Baldwin,
Simpson?
but I'm just curious if it's a known him, if it's Ray Booton or
Hold
Teddy
on.
Panos on trial, if a police officer screws
Yeah.
up this badly,
You
like the
talking
Annie
about Mark
Dukin
Furman?
thing.
Yeah, I like Mark
Furman.
I didn't think Mark Furman. He wrote a book. He made him look bad, but Mark Furman's evidence
But it-
regarding the trial wasn't.
But it was
not
enough
bad.
to swing the case.
It was because of public
and
opinion.
even the handling of the DNA evidence, just
That's
calling
correct.
it into doubt.
But it didn't take away that he was a good detective. I'm sorry, it didn't.
All right.
For me,
Is Michael Proctor a good detective?
no. Michael
He was,
Proctor,
but he was a lead detective
Yes,
on this.
he could be. On other cases, he's done a meticulous job.
I don't know
with,
that.
With different,
He doesn't know
with
that either.
different. No, I did.
he's done a
because of the
bad job
different
on
ones that he
this.
said, and I'm trying to think of the guy's name. Where the one where the
murdered
guy
his
cut
wife?
up his body and spread her
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
He
It's
had
on the Duxbury.
so yes, and he was told geotag. You know how you geotag your phones, like your location's always on? Geotag everybody that was at 34 Fairview and find out who was there and when they left. The police can do that. They can find your phone that your location was on. If you looked up how long to die on cold or what's my kid's soccer schedule, it sends a ping, it puts a location of where you're at. And he did that with all others. And when he was asked to do it in this case, he was ordered to do it. He sent in the request to Verizon and all the different carriers. He said, only give me Android and only send it to me. You can look this up. On this particular
Where am I looking it up?
he got in
When did
Discovery.
it come out in evidence?
Yannetti, Yannetti asked for this.
Okay.
He said, we want discovery of everybody who was there.
Yeah.
They sent it. I can prove this to you. And he sent in
don't doubt you.
a subpoena to, AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile, all the carriers to say, only give me Android phones.
Okay.
Now most of the people have iPhones.
I have an iPhone.
He asked for only Android phones of the people who were there. He didn't do the geotag that he was supposed to.
Right. You're both agreeing, rare instance, that Proctor did a bad job on the investigation.
On this investigation.
That Proctor did a terrible job on the Karen
We'll
Reed
see how it
investigation.
gets up there this time, but yeah, he did a horrible job.
Okay. Doesn't that automatically, the lead
No, it
investigator
doesn't. No,
screws
it
up,
does
doesn't that? So
not.
Annie Dukin was discredited and thousands of drug criminals, guilty or
Oh,
not,
yeah.
were completely let go.
Sure. Those
This
are
guy-
cases, though. They're presumed innocent.
Isn't Karen Reed?
Karen
Of
Reed.
course he is.
If this guy butchered the case so
Yeah.
badly,
If he did such a bad job,
Listen, it doesn't change the
it's
facts.
just frustrating when you can't understand that
And I can't
he
understand.
did such a bad
I told you his
job.
conduct unbecoming, and he was fired.
And-
but it doesn't change evidence. It's sorry, it doesn't. He didn't collect the
doesn't?
cups. He didn't put them in bags. He didn't do any of that. He didn't take the blower out. He didn't put glass anywhere. He didn't do any of that.
John O'Keefe's clothes at the end of his bed. They have a picture of it when they took the clothes off, cut it off him. It's at the end of. How long before he turned in the evidence?
I have no. Why do you know that? Why?
Because it was like 3 or 4 months. Why wouldn't you get that? A police officer died. Wouldn't you want to get that evidence over to
Yeah, no, he's-
the
Watching
He
Turtle
fought- yeah,
Boy and
people-
reading all the videos. I haven't watched anything but the trial.
watching-
I did watch the trial, and it did come up at the trial.
Let me ask you: were you watching these 2020s and all these things?
No.
The
You don't watch the
I
2020s?
didn't watch the
How did you
2020.
stay away from the 2020s?
Netflix series.
I'm in my
I
car.
would watch.
And
I haven't watched.
I
any
haven't
of that.
watched it, but I will.
I have a lot of clients. Luckily, I have a really great real estate
Yeah,
business.
no, of course, of course.
At night,
What's the name of that
Private
business? Real estate.
realestaterayburton.com. So I can't watch those things. I didn't watch. One of my friends, either HBO or Netflix, did a
Netflix.
documentary, and my friend said it didn't make her look innocent. Like he thought she was innocent, not even not guilty, innocent, and then watch that and it's like, that didn't portray her in a light. So I have to go and watch that to say, have an open mind,
I haven't. Wide open mind.
Are the feds investigating Canton Police and
No.
State Police? Is that done?
Yes.
I knew there was some investigation done, but I didn't know if it
can't go
related
after anybody in law
the
enforcement.
girl that
Yeah.
somebody impregnated and she ended up
Oh, isn't that
committing
awful?
suicide. Right? But so
He murdered her.
But even in this case, investigating the Karen Reed case and
Yes.
those officers, the feds are not going to bring any charges.
No.
Is that official or
Yes.
no, they don't. The feds never say, "Okay, case is closed. You're all innocent.
Right,
We're not doing it," because something else.
they're
will come
not,
up.
but they haven't brought charges. yet.
They haven't brought charges that we know of. Can we talk about Nicholas Garino, who's the
Not yet.
person that? Why he was already on the stand?
Garino?
Yes.
Nicholas Garino.
The-
Yes.
2 days
Wait a
he
minute,
was on the
he's being
stand.
brought back and forth.
Yes.
Hank Brennan's using him. He's been in
Who's
twice.
Nicholas Garino?
He's a trooper.
Oh,
Go
okay.
ahead.
And Nicholas Garino is the trooper that's in charge of extracting phone data
Yep.
and looking through phone data. He's the same one that couldn't find 32,000 texts between Michael Farwell and Sandra Birchmore, who Farwell had raped her because she was underage. He
Who are those
couldn't
people?
find
Who are those people?
This was the case of the
This
girl
was the
that
What's that got
case
to do with
officer-
Karen Reed?
because it calls into question Guarino's qualifications that
No, you can't bring in evidence from another case.
you
Qualifications?
yes, it's called disqualifying the
Did they
credit,
do it?
the reliability. Yes,
should have already been done?
No, they haven't brought up that yet because they
Okay.
found out after. But Guarino pulled Karen Reed's. He just testified he actually didn't pull Jen McCabe's phone messages. This is the first time we're hearing that he didn't actually pull her information off the 227 call. It was probably the other person. But Guarino was so good at his job, he missed 32,000 texts between Michael Farwell.
See how that's worded? Slick.
So I've testified. I've been an expert testifier.
So have I.
I just actually yesterday and the day before did my continuing ed, how to be an expert witness. It
Yeah.
brought up
I never
Daubert,
took a
voir
class.
dire, everything
I
like
just
that.
did my stuff.
I've taken it. I've taken this one multiple times, and you have to your credibility. So if you have something that comes up that says, well, wait a minute, you've done this for X amount of years, 35 years, and you've never had something come up. How did you miss 32,000 text messages
were on Hillary
on
Clinton's
somebody's
email
phone when you pulled it off it?
All right. I'm going to wrap up by talking about the new car evidence.
Yeah.
Because
That
Lex,
wasn't him.
you are of the belief that they have introduced new evidence that shows exactly how John O'Keefe was struck by Karen Reed's car.
That's correct.
As I remember and again, I didn't watch the trial, or especially the parts about the car evidence, but I did see the reporting about what the forensic experts said, that there is no, and my belief was there is no way that he died the way the prosecution theory said he died.
Right.
The way the car hit him and caused those injuries.
Right.
You said there's been new evidence that's been
Right.
introduced in
Well,
this
they've got
trial.
her there at the location.
Right. But they had that before.
That's correct. They have her up by the driveway.
They were at the driveway and then they pulled down the street at
She
some
puts
point.
it in. He's out of the car already. She
Yeah.
puts it. He thinks she's facing, but what I've understood is she puts it into reverse, but she idles there for a while. She sits there while he's out of the car, and she waits.
So your
She
theory
waits.
is she's waiting for him to
She's
get
waiting.
far enough away that she can
Pops
get
it
the
into
speed.
reverse, gets it up to 28 miles an hour, and pushes the accelerator. 24. Excuse me. You're right.
How many feet?
24. Hold on. Let me finish my sentence.
You're under cross-examination.
She puts. No. She puts.
Let
her,
the witness finish her testimony,
she puts-
please.
Yes, I object.
Okay, so-
Sustained. So what she does, she puts the accelerator down 70%.
Okay.
That's intent. That's
right,
what Hank is pointing at as intent.
Okay.
She looks.
Or she's really pissed.
She is angry.
Okay.
You can hear all the voice messages
So,
after.
but there's something important you're saying here. You're saying she puts it in reverse
Yes.
and waits for him to continue
well,
walking.
we don't know what he does.
What if she puts it in reverse and he's still in the car and
He's not in the car.
Do we know? How do we know this?
She says he got out. She doesn't remember being there.
Right. So exactly. She doesn't remember anything.
No.
And she
Wait a
said
minute,
she put it
She
in
said
reverse.
she doesn't remember
Right.
being at the
Julie Mangle's brother came to pick her up.
Who's okay?
She was one of the kids there that was with Brian Albert Jr.
No
and
relation
said,
to the Lowell Angles.
Right, and said that he pulled up behind her and only saw one person and the light was on in the car and only saw one person in the vehicle. And then when he left, they looked over and she was the only one in the car
Right.
there. So
Okay,
they
get out.
left. So they're aware of that. My
Wait,
point is
somebody's saying that she was the only person in the car.
yes.
But they saw well enough to see she was the only person in the car, but didn't see him walking towards the house.
No. He's probably
That's a little weird.
No. He
To me,
just
that witness didn't see what they think they saw.
or he did, and John was in the house.
No, he never went in the house.
doing 3 flights.
Everyone says they never. went in the
That was
So
my point.
3 flights.
But they-
3 flights.
does
Hold
he have
on.
an Apple
Let me
Watch?
just say, yes, he does.
Okay, so it shows
John
elevation.
O'Keefe goes
It
in.
might. I don't think it does show elevation.
Hi, where's Brian? Oh, they're upstairs. He goes upstairs. They're not there. He goes downstairs and they says, oh, he must
Was
be in
that
the
Brian in the
basement.
first trial?
There's your 3 flights.
that
Yes.
Brian in the first trial?
That was the 3 flights of stairs. That's how they thought that he did it.
No.
Because they were saying that they were upstairs looking at Marine Corps photos in that they thought they were, but then they went down into
He
the
never
basement.
went in the house, did he?
So the ATF agent, Brian Higgins,
Yeah.
said
He's
that a
sketchy.
man went into the house. He
He's
saw
sketchy, though.
somebody going into the house.
He also
6 foot,
destroyed his
6 foot
phone.
high.
Oh, I apologize.
Is he the neighbor from across the street?
No, Brian Higgins is the ATF agent that Karen Reed was flirting with and having.
He was in the house.
The day
You
before,
can let it ring, you know.
I'm so
the day tell him I'm busy. The day,
Put him up. Who are you talking to?
It's a lifeline.
Tell him I got it, too.
Somebody's calling a lifeline into her because she needs it right now.
No.
Hold on. The day before the preservation order for Brian Higgins and Brian Albert's
They
phones,
destroyed them.
the day before.
Yeah.
Right? So it was coming in the mail the next day.
So what?
Somebody
That's
from
sketchy.
the district
It is
attorney.
sketchy. I'm not saying it's not.
Does
Murder
that
doesn't
create
make them
enough reasonable doubt
Doesn't make you a
that something
murderer.
is going on? How many
No, but
how many
it
butt
brings
dials?
reasonable doubt.
It makes the defense theory plausible.
How'd he come out of his
doesn't it?
shoe?
Well,
When I hit my
When they dragged him up
he
the
came right
stairs.
out of his shoes.
so this is what I want to talk about. So what else is the new evidence? She backed up, put her
She
car.
idled.
Where is this evidence?
It
Because
was in-
everything's
it
been
just brought it
impounded.
in. The first day they brought it in.
No, Hank Brennan's opening statement is not evidence.
Oh, that's correct.
So
He's
so
gonna
it's
come.
not
He's gonna
evidence.
show it as
Everything has been impounded now. You can't get anything out. It's
Right.
So the theory is he gets out of the car, she puts it in reverse, waiting for him to get far enough away that she can get a good head of speed.
Well, I don't think that's what she's doing, but she puts the accelerator down 70%. What's your intent?
She's pissed.
Can I tell you when?
He's in the way.
I see people go to
he's in
the
the way.
old St. Helier car wash and never get your little.
Well, he's
show you the tire
also
tracks on the
mistaken you
street.
were about
Can I
where
tell
John landed in the snow. You thought it was way up by that pole, and it's not. He's at the berm by the snow. It's one step over the berm, two steps, and there's the
12,
body.
13 feet from the curb.
Right, but his body is closer to the side of the road than the
So
flagpole.
when
You
all
were
those
under
people
the
left at night
misconception.
and drove down the street
One
there,
person saw it.
nobody. She saw a blob on the
She saw
ground.
a blob on the snow.
and
Who saw the
that
She had been
blob? Who was
drinking.
it
Julie
that said she saw the
Nagel,
blob?
Julie
One of the
Nagel,
friends.
one of the friends, saw
saw
a
a blob on
blob
the snow.
and didn't bring that up for how many months
She wasn't
after?
asked. People don't know,
I know.
how to offer information.
No.
They're not
But
in this
that's
for
the
a
thing. The
living.
detectives and the state police didn't interview everybody for months.
This goes
Again,
to the.
wait a minute.
Even if Karen Reed is guilty, the
Yeah.
incompetence of the prosecution
Is
not
enough
to say,
reasonable doubt?
No,
We've got
it's
a
not
murder
enough
scene.
reasonable doubt.
Oh, it has to be.
No.
How can it not be?
Absolutely not. And you're not talking about the same prosecution as last time. And I'm sick of having to repeat that. This is a new jury. This is a new game. And I'm going off of this trial.
But they'll have to deal with that at some point.
I hope they
will-
do.
The
And
prosecutor.
if it makes us look bad, it makes us
the
look bad.
prosecutor will have
If
to.
it makes you look bad, it makes you guys
It
look bad.
doesn't make me
But
look
pay
bad. I
attention
want justice
to-
for people. I want justice for the police
for
officer
both.
who died.
For both.
I want the people who did this to be put in jail.
Well, I don't want the pom-pom girls standing out front of the court screaming either. And they were spitting on people and they were
They're
yelling
standing
at
in
people.
Draken now.
They're so far
No.
away now. But that first trial, they tainted. They
that was
absolutely did.
that was different.
And the guy
people.
running the show down there was a plastic minion hat. And he walks her down with everybody else pom-poms in the air. It's a spectacle. It's turned into a joke.
We like pom poms
I like
here on
golden
the Daily
pom-poms.
Pulse. We got golden pom poms. You guys
golden
want some golden pom poms?
I've worn
I'll
one
take
already.
pink.
We should have pink pom poms for Karen Reed.
Pink and
All right.
you
Blue.
can blue.
Thank you.
So the
Jury is out.
car evidence you believe that's already been introduced.
Contradicts her own statements. Yes.
But it wasn't introduced yet, and it hasn't.
It
been.
has been.
And
Well,
can I
it's
say?
been
in opening, okay.
Can I say what the 70% was?
The accelerator push.
You know what the accelerator push was?
What?
The key cycles. If you go back, her car was in the snow after the blizzard at her father's house. And to get it out into the driveway so that they could put it up, they had to rev the car back and move the car in order to get it
They have
out so that
daytime
they
location,
could
Teddy.
put it on the thing. So there is a reasonable explanation for that.
She revved it too when she reversed. Boom. And Kip knocked him right out of
They're
the
saying that she went back 62 feet and was able to get up to 24 miles an
When
hour.
I get my pedestrian, I saw her coming.
But you're an expert driver.
No, I'm not. I was on Yarmouth PD. I had 1 year on the
Did
job.
you
I was
see?
not an
Did you see
expert
Karen
driver.
back out of the driveway and bump his car?
She denies
She's
that.
not a great. I don't
No, she's
care. I
not.
saw it
And
on
you're
video.
implying she backed up straight. She went
No,
like
she
this.
went into a curve. If you watch her, she's going slow, so much,
She's this
and she
big
hits his
behind that
car,
Lexus,
and
too.
she's got a camera that shows how close she is, and she still hit his car. She's a terrible driver.
She's drunk.
There's no way.
She was drunk.
She's drunk.
Teddy,
She was drunk.
No problem. I don't dispute that.
She's blown over at 2-0.
She
We can
can't
do the
remember
math.
even being there. If that's evidence, then how can you
It
say
is
she
evidence.
intentionally tried to kill him?
Well,
she
she
didn't even know. She didn't
She's
remember.
creating it as the evidence comes.
But getting the key, when you see the key cycles, you'll see that
I
this
will
was
pay
down
attention
when
to
it,
that.
when
I
it
promise you.
actually
I
was down at
All
her
right.
father's house.
You think she hit him,
Right out of his sneaker.
and you still think it's not second-degree murder.
Starting to.
No,
I'm starting now to question.
correct. On the first trial, you
I'm
thought it's
questioning her
not
intent now.
second-degree murder.
That's correct.
Now you're saying the second
questioning
trial,
her
you're starting to
intent.
question her intent.
That's correct.
Okay, but not. But you would have, if you sat on the jury, you would have said not guilty to
I wouldn't have
second-degree
come up
murder.
with a point. I'm waiting to the very end, but
Right, but you would have said after the first trial,
first
you
trial,
would have said not guilty of
definitely-
second degree, and you would have said
I
guilty
don't know
of
if I would have
manslaughter.
gone not guilty second degree. I would have gone with the hung jury though. I don't think they proved the case 100%. But Hank Brennan is.
Did they
not-
try her for
By you
manslaughter?
saying
What?
they didn't prove the
Like a
case
smoking gun or something?
100%,
'Cause they said-
why? Because you said
Because
they
it's a
didn't
different
prove the
trial.
case.
There's new evidence
No,
coming
for
in.
the
I'm
last
going
trial.
with the
He's
first
asking about the
trial.
last
You would have
trial.
said not- you would have said
did
not
the
guilty.
state
I would
prove
have
their
said,
case?
Not guilty of reasonable doubt, of course, but
Okay.
not on
Okay.
all the charges. No,
right,
I would.
so-
Okay, so
I
what
still
were-
think she hit him, whether it was
So the
intentional.
charges are second-degree murder.
Yes, because she revved that engine. And
what is it?
backed up.
Aggravated assault.
Leaving the scene after.
Leaving the scene.
with alcohol.
Okay, and what was what's the third charge? Was it
Assault battery?
manslaughter?
It must be some battery.
Why was manslaughter not one of the charges?
Well,
This
Is it not? I guess I don't. I know 1 in 3 they found her not guilty.
This is checking the the competence of the prosecution. Michael Morrissey.
different prosecutor.
But no, it falls under Michael Morris.
Michael
Morrissey,
Morrissey.
yeah.
Michael
The
Morrissey
DA.
made the charge.
Yeah,
Why would he not put manslaughter out there? To me, he might win that. Second
I
degree
hate to
murder is
say-
really hard to
It
win.
might be.
I think
Second
she got
degree?
acquitted of second degree. The middle charge was she was there, something happened to him, she was drunk. They're
That's a
judging her for those things,
Well,
but
those
they
are
didn't
facts.
actually. The jury in the deliberations from the jurors that have come out have said she was there. Somebody needs to be punished.
But if you're drunk, that qualifies.
She said she wasn't
as
there. I don't remember
an
a thing from
involuntary
last night.
manslaughter.
I don't
Whatever
remember
the case is, the
To me, the
second.
the trial should be over manslaughter or involuntary manslaughter and not
Well,
second degree.
when they
But
saw
here-
the computer and they saw she idled there, revved it, popped it in a reverse, revved it, dropped it 70%, and hit him,
So this was the opening argument of the and this
which
will come
will be
forward.
proven through evidence as they go.
Can we do this again?
They
in a
didn't.
couple?
They didn't prove
Is this
it
gonna-
last time.
There's
How are
only
they going to
four
prove it
witnesses.
this
Is this going to take 2 months?
It's going to
Yes.
take about 2 months.
Yeah.
All right. So can we do this every few weeks?
Love to.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll get the dress memo.
But we'll yeah. Get the. Where's
look
my
so
Stady
great.
hat? But I thought I was
I
getting a
couldn't
Stady
find
hat.
one.
You couldn't find.
We were going to put him in some state police gear, but I couldn't find
Yeah, I know it's going to be biased.
it. We just watch your reaction.
All right, good.
All right, Ray Booten, as always, thank you. One of these days we're
This
going to
was
come
fun.
back and talk about all your houses. You still got the one in Hudson.
I got
What?
Hudson's on. That's a big
Hudson,
3,000 square foot house
New
in
Hampshire.
New Hampshire. I've got one coming on this week in Princeton, and I've got one in Belvedere.
Belvedere.
Verified air.
Is it near where all that new water tank is going to be?
Oh, that's
To
Cochrane Road.
alleviate
Yeah,
Does it have a tennis court in the backyard?
that's me.
No,
All right.
I had fun.
Thank you.
I had a blast.
Ray, Leslie, you're going to be
Brother?
back Friday. We're giving away some horses.
We're giving away some more.
All right, so go to InsideLowell.com, go to our Facebook, go to our Twitter page at some point later this afternoon. I'm a couple of hours behind schedule, folks, but we'll tell you how you can be entered to win our Kentucky Derby contest here on Inside Lowell. So thank you to Ray, thank you to Leslie, thank you for tuning in here to the Daily Pulse on this Monday, April 28th. Tomorrow, I've got, Melanie Gilbert from the Lowell Sun
Nice.
is
Love
going to join
Mel.
us. We're going to solve the homelessness crisis, and we'll can't wait for that one. The Sun coming. I gotta get Peter Courier and forget Melanie Gilbert. Wednesday, Bill Samaras and Lowell Mayor Danny Rourke will be here. One foreign mayor, one current mayor.
Nice.
They'll be in the studios. Friday is our Kentucky Derby giveaway. I'll figure out Thursday at some point. If not, I'll bore you all by myself. Till then, everybody stay safe. Enjoy this gorgeous weather out there. Spring is springing throughout Greater Lowell. Till next time, stay safe, and I'll catch you on the other side.